The feature film is, of course, everybody's dream, but that might take its time. In our time also, there was no such avenue like, today you can make a film on this. In our time, it was not like that. It is an expensive kind of a thing, and there was no YouTube, there was no such thing. So it was just, you make a film, where do you show it? And if you make a short film kind of a thing. So anyway, so the institute that way helped me a lot in terms of 3 years there, and plus you are with people who are, all similar zone, you all are interested in movies. Of course, we have fights. Some people like certain movies, some people don't like certain movies. That arguments and all that goes on, but you're still living in that mahal of creative mahal kind of thing. And plus, in that time there was, like I said, VHS had just come in. Those who could afford to buy a VCR could, you could hire a VCR from a shop and that kind of a thing. But we used to have film screenings every day, 1 or 2 every day, and all classic kind of films, all over the world. So that was one major input we got that time. Today, though, of course, every film is available on your laptop. Everything is, you can download, everything is there. So today you don't have any excuse, but you have too much to watch. At that time, it was like, jo bhi milega, we used to be very thrilled with. Now it's the opposite. Itna hai ki, baad mein dekhte hain, you're kind of doing your own thing. Now, after passing out my institute film, this one, which was, I don't know whether you all saw it or you all were going to see it. Okay, you see it, you can see it later also, but that was my institute diploma film. Before that, we have, I'll just talk about how we had it. Na? It's okay. Our first exercise was actually something called the continuity exercise, which is a 5-minute film. Uske baad ek aata hai, dialogue exercise. The continuity exercise basically is you just are, okay, can you put together a film, and that's where we all learn how little we know. It's usually so bad that we don't, when we begin, we all hope to, kind of kuch banayenge jabardast kind of thing. But usually those films are very amateurish. It's okay. It's part of our process, kind of thing. So continuity, then the dialogue exercise. Dialogue exercise is again a film which is basically has to be, how do you shoot people talking? Which is one of the hardest things to do in a movie, whether they're sitting at dinner or whether they are walking and whatever. How do you construct a scene where people are talking and what is dialogue and so on, Again, these are small exercises, 5-10 minutes kind of thing. Then we had a documentary, which is again a 10-minute thing you can make on any subject you choose, kind of thing. And we had one song picturization. But we are actually, you shoot a song. And just for the trivia, the song I shot was Mr. Ramesh Sippy's Sagar Jaisi Aankhon Wali. So anyway, we can choose any song we can shoot. But I didn't get an actress who was Sagar Jaisi Aankhon Wali, so my exercise is very bad. I try my best to, should I steal that negative from there and taki koi dekh na paye kind of a thing, so itna kharab hai. So anyway, so uske baad we have a dialogue exercise. And we also have a thing called the mise-en-scene exercise. I think you all had a little class or workshop on that, na? So mise-en-scene is the last thing, and then you go to the diploma film. Diploma film is, we used to have half an hour. So half an hour, this is that film, and this one, today it looks very, somehow, when I watch it, I think, oh, I should do it so differently and so on. But that time it was like, it won the national award that year for best short fiction. That was the first year the award was kept and I got it. Not that it made things easier when you pass out, the national award is just ghar pe rakho and dikhte raho chahe to, but it doesn't get you work, and how do you get work? So when I think then gradually, little by little, you try to look for things. I was working in ISRO. ISRO used to have a documentary unit there, so they used to, where you go to villages and make films for the kids there. For example, how to make a film on something as simple as, this ORT, oral rehydration therapy, which is because in most places, the children are suffering because of simple things which they could solve, and the parents are not there. Either they are in the field or they are working in that city or something. So the whole idea of those films were the audience was only kids. So it's a 10-year-old who's the audience, so that he or she can take care of their siblings, younger siblings and so on. So these are not creatively important films, in that sense, but they are necessary films. They are films which I think it hones your craft as a filmmaker. How do you appeal to children in that sense? So you find different ways of doing these things. You can tell it in a boring way, you can show it a demonstration, or you can do it with puppets. You can do it with all kinds of. You just look for your own idea of how do you. I mean, we all have nephews and nieces and cousins and kids. So how do you entertain them? How do you deal with them? So that's kind of every specific audience has you will have to find your language to make that to communicate to that particular person. So after ISRO, then I got a chance to make one film which is not there, but I'll give it to Anupama. Someday when you all have time, you'll see it. It's a 70-minute film on Raman Raghav. Raman Raghav is a serial killer who... do you have the film with you? Then you show it to them sometime, na? Haan, jab bhi. So that is the only interesting thing about that film is it has Raghuveer Yadav, who's a fine actor, and what happened is it was shot basically in 7 to 10 days we shot it. It's a very low budget, really low budget. We had a small team and we used to go and shoot in real locations. We had no art director or anything. We couldn't afford. And somehow we managed to make the film, which some parts are good, some parts are probably embarrassing right now for me to watch. But still, I mean, you watch it and see, I mean, it's again, you will find some, I wanted to make it like a very, I mean, not just come out of the institute. So for me, it was like my first feature film. So kuch hum ye karenge, do your best and kind of thing. So the whole team was like that. So because of that enthusiasm, somehow a lot of good things happened in that film. And that film sort of gave me the kind of, what you call show reel or whatever, it's like, so that was seen by Ram Gopal Verma. So Ram Gopal Verma saw it and he called me. Anurag had showed it to him. Anurag Kashyap had showed it to him, and he called me one day and he said, "Kyari, come and meet me." I was too thrilled because I mean, Ramu was a big filmmaker that time. Satya had been released and Rangila and all that. So I went and met him. He said, "Why aren't you making a film?" I said, "Yeah, like it's not easy like that, So he said, "Okay, you write something for me." So 2-3 years we tried to do things, but nothing was really exciting him or nothing was working out. Till one day he gave me a kind of a first draft of Ek Hasina Thi. He said, "You read this and see whether you like it," kind of a thing. I think that was the film he was supposed to make, but then for some reason he was busy with something else and he was doing it, I think, for Urmila in that sense. I mean, he wanted to make a film with her. And so he asked me, if you like it. And I was that time so desperate, कि यार इतना साल हो गया कुछ film ने किया, and ऐसा kind of things. So I said, चलो, मतलब I actually liked the story also, but even if I had not liked it, I would have said probably yes, kind of thing. So then that film began. We had a first draft of the script. Then we kept rewriting, improving, kind of whatever we can do. And now that film, have you all seen Ek Hasina Thi? The bulk of you all have seen it. Otherwise, it's there on Amazon. Abhi recently aaya hai. It's so now Ek Hasina Thi was 2004 it released actually, and it didn't do very well in terms of box office, but somehow it gave me a lot of appreciation from the industry. The critics and reviews were like 50-50. Some people liked it, some people said, a lot of people told me, "Aisa thodi, this girl can't be such a fool. Why will she take such a thing?" But then when you fall in love, you are a bit of a fool. So that was my logic for it. So I mean, sometimes you do something for somebody. You may not do it logically for other people, but for other reasons that you feel, okay, this guy is there, I like him, I love him, and I trust him, kind of thing. So anyway, then of course it's a revenge story and what happens. And after Ek Hasina Thi, because of that sort of people like what they look at is, okay, can you make a film? Can you put it together? Is it evoking a certain emotion? And Hasina was, I think in that time, a little different from the other movies of that time, So even though it didn't do well, maybe that's the reason it did do well, because it's not the typical song and this kind of a movie, but it also got appreciation of from a certain number of producers. And so after that, I've never had to look for I have got more producers than story ideas, Mera ulta hai. Unlike most people who have lots of ideas, but nobody's willing to back them. For me, it was the other way around, to find the story which I want to do.